The story unfolding in Minnesota is one of the most staggering fraud cases in American history. A $200 million pandemic food aid scheme that siphoned money away from children who needed it most. And while U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar has not been charged with or convicted of stealing a single dollar, the fallout from this scandal has landed uncomfortably close to her circle, forcing difficult questions about proximity, oversight, and responsibility. It began during the pandemic, when the federal government opened the floodgates to emergency food programs meant to help kids who had lost access to school meals on paper. It was simple. Nonprofits and community groups would distribute meals, report their numbers, and get reimbursed. But beneath the surface was a machine of fabricated meal counts, ghost kitchens, forged attendance rosters, and shell organizations claiming to feed children who never existed. More than 80 individuals were eventually charged, and over 60 have already been convicted using the stolen money to buy luxury homes, high-end cars, and overseas properties while children went hungry. The part that draws national attention is how several of those convicted were connected to Ilhan Omar's political orbit. One of them, Guhad Hashi, said, worked on Omar's campaign. He pleaded guilty to running a fake food distribution site and pocketing more than $3 million. Another, Salim Ahmed, said, co-owner of Safari Restaurant, the same restaurant where Omar held her 2018 victory party, was convicted of stealing $12 million through fraudulent pandemic meal claims. And while Omar has no direct involvement, her campaign did receive roughly $7,400 in donations from individuals later charged in the fraud. Her team returned the money once the indictments were made public, but the optics are unavoidable. People tied to one of America's most high-profile lawmakers were also tied to one of the biggest frauds in U.S. history. The controversy grows because Omar was also one of the lawmakers who helped expand federal food aid programs during the pandemic. Supporters say she was trying to feed hungry families during a crisis. Critics argue the expansion created opportunities for fraudsters, especially in states where oversight was already stretched thin. And that's the heart of the current investigation: how such a massive theft was allowed to happen, and how many safeguards failed at the exact same moment. The House Oversight Committee and the Treasury Department are now examining the entire collapse of the program. The loose oversight, the fraudulent nonprofits, and even whether any stolen money may have flowed to extremist or terrorist groups abroad. So far, saying that if such a link did exist, it would represent a failure of federal law enforcement, not lawmakers. All of this lands on top of an earlier issue from Omar's past in 2019. The Minnesota Campaign Finance Board ruled that she violated state campaign finance laws in 2016 by using campaign funds for personal travel and legal expenses. While that situation was resolved years ago, it resurfaces now because critics argue it reflects a pattern of financial carelessness. The truth is complex. Omar is not accused of participating in the fraud, but the people who celebrated with her, worked beside her, and donated to her campaigns were part of a network that stole hundreds of millions meant for hungry children. And that proximity has created a cloud of political fallout that won't disappear anytime soon. The Feeding Our Future scandal is a reminder that federal programs can be exploited, oversight can fail, and political circles can cross paths with people who do very bad things. As investigations continue and more guilty pleas roll in, the echoes of this fraud grow louder. Not because Ilhan Omar committed a crime, but because the people around her did. And because the nation is still struggling to understand how such a massive theft was allowed to happen on her home turf in a state she represents. During a crisis she helped legislate. And until every question is answered, this story is far from over.